Welcome, Jason.
Thank you so much.
We were looking forward to Jan Icon. Unfortunately, the film has got stalled because of certain reasons. Tell me about your role in the film, working with Thalapathy and Bobby.
So I haven't worked with Vijay Talapati sir directly. I was working alongside Bobby Deol. I'm Bobby Deol's henchman in the movie. It's an avatar that I've never been seen in before. I like it. It's very agent feel-ish. Action, as always, like the South is always big in action. So I'm excited to see. Well, I'm a little worried now because there's a lot of cuts that have happened. I heard over 27 cuts of the movie. So yeah, that's always a little bit like, okay, I hope, everything is still intact. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting one, at least for me.
पर तुमने काफ़ी सालों से काम किया है इंडस्ट्री में, तुम जानते हो, पर ये तुमको लगता है कि सिनेमा इज अ विक्टिम ऑफ पॉलिटिक्स एंड दैट वुड बी द रीजन जन आइकन फंस गए?
I think there's a lot going on in India right now, just politically. So I think, but if you actually look over the years in India, I think cinema and politics has always kind of gone hand in hand. At certain times political movies have been released, or movies that had political things. I think something like Durandar had quite a few objectives that people could say, oh, was very all about this attack from Pakistan and stuff like that. So I think it's something that there's stories, right, that speak to people in different ways, and I think that's what interests so many people to go and see a movie like Durandar. I know that, like, the guys in my gym, they're like 55 plus, but they were like, I'm taking my whole family because it's this whole India Pakistan Farzi money and the attack in Mumbai. So it's just kind of history goes alongside film. I think it's the same in Bollywood, Hollywood, wherever you go.
Coming back to Jan Icon, working with Bobby, tell me about, Bobby also has made a huge comeback, and a lot of credit goes to people down south also. Tell me about working with Bobby, and Bobby, the person that you've got to know while working with him.
He's actually really, really soft-spoken, which I've started to realize most of these villains are, because they have these massive personas. But then, and I've heard it about myself as well, that, oh, you're actually a nice guy. I'm like, yeah, I mean, what did you expect? But I think it's because, people see you from this one point of perspective continuously for so long that they kind of lose that this person is actually just a normal human being and this is just his job. And I think that's what makes villains so amazing, is that means that they're actually in the craft. And I think it is, since a few years now in India, I think negative roles are being, given the spotlight a lot more. I think we saw it from the start of like RRR and KGF and all of these South movies. But then you keep going further, now it's like Durandar here, Jananayagan, and now Toxic as well, that's just come. So I think, yeah, it's the year of, I think it's like the years of the bad guys. So I'm very happy about that.
Is violence the topic of the day? The more the film is more violent, the more you talked about, the more people go in voyeuristic. Are we turning that into a completely voyeuristic society as such? Does it reflect on us also as a society?
It definitely does, and I think that it's the world over. If we look at geopolitics now, there's almost no country in the world that doesn't have some kind of attachment to some kind of agitation when it comes to other countries. And I think just yesterday, Bangladesh, I think, has cut Indians coming in. So I think there's just like all borders are heating up, all over the world. I definitely see this younger generation has become a lot more reactive instead of responsive. So that has definitely increased violence, and you can see that everybody's quite aggressive. I don't know, I've seen recently that there's not a lot of happiness on people's faces, and I think it comes from enjoying the simple things. I think it comes from love, which I think due to technology, especially the mobile phone, is now lacking. Something as simple as just having a meal all together, sitting down, put the mobiles away. and just talk, one to the other. I think we're lacking those kind of things. Just enjoy a sunset. You don't need to post the sunset, but it's everything has some bit of technology. Now it's losing all of your human elements, which I think is what ultimately we were designed, I think, and this is what I believe, in the image of God. And God made all of the beautiful, simple things in life for us to enjoy. And I think this generation doesn't know how to enjoy them.
You just mentioned कि कौन आज के तारीख में कौन डिजिटल डिटॉक्स में बिलीव करेगा जब हर रूम में तुम जाओ, जिस रूम में जाओ, एवरीबडी इज होल्डिंग ऑन टू द फोन, नोबडी इज टॉकिंग टू ईच अदर, लुकिंग इनटू ईच अदर्स आईज. वो कैसे बदलेगा जेसन?
I think it's a personal choice. I think it's a personal realization. I can't force you, to put your phone down. But as friends together, I even told a friend this the other day that, if we're going to be together and I'm actually going to take an hour and a half or 2 hours to spend with you, I would appreciate it, unless it's like your wife calling with an emergency or your mom and dad. Those kind of things I understand. But otherwise, I'd rather have a conversation with you. Otherwise, why would I take out 2 hours of my time to see you sitting on your phone? I think it's kind of disrespectful also. I mean, even when the mobile phones, my father was still alive he got me the first Nokia phone, which was like that big from Switzerland. And even then it was like, okay, I'm giving it to you for a specific time. And then I got the little Motorola blue one with the antenna. That was only when I was going for cricket practice. So I think it's just a time limit, Okay, yes, have it there if there are emergencies, great. But otherwise, block it out. Take some time off. And I think watching everything, whether it be your mobile phone or whether it even be, TV, I think there's just a limit you should put on yourself. Because I hear so many people saying, oh, I don't have time. And then I'm like, well, if I ask your phone that question, I'm sure your phone's going to disagree, because it'll probably say 3.5 hours of scrolling on Reels, And the sad part about Reels is that actually that information is lost. You don't actually lodge that information. Most of those 15 seconds or 30 seconds, maybe one of maybe even 30 or 40 reels may speak to you in some way. So it's actually something you've digested. But most of it, your brain is just taking in and throwing out.
How much time do you spend on the phone?
I try most of my time to read. As my spiritual walk in life gets more and more, I actually like to pray more. I like to worship God more. And that completely takes me away from those things. I like to read books. I'm reading a book actually by a doctor, and it's called Forward, and it's really amazing because it's talking exactly about this. It's basically saying you have to understand what your distractions are in life and say no to them. And let me tell you, that can be a friend. It can be somebody who doesn't even realize it, right? And you have to be the one to say, yeah, I love you, but I'm gonna have to say no, because maybe it's a lack of respect, maybe just the same kind of trust is not being reciprocated. What I look at friendship as somebody else might look at friendship. If we don't eventually level up on those terms and you don't treat me the same way that I treat you, I will, start to distance myself, because I think I do have a part of me that is long suffering in love, but it's really good to know where to say no. So I think that lacks.
Where you mentioned about not spending so much time on the phone, but आज की तारीख में तो कास्टिंग ही आर्टिस्टों की उनके फॉलोअर्स से होती है. तुम्हारा टेक क्या है उसके ऊपर?
किस चीज़ में?
तुम्हारे पास कितने फॉलोअर्स है वो इम्पॉर्टेंट है आज की तारीख में. कास्टिंग डायरेक्टर्स हमको खुद बोलते हैं कि वी आर गिवन द ब्रीफ कि किसकी क्या फॉलोइंग है, उसके हिसाब से कास्टिंग करो, उसके हिसाब से उसको ऑडिशन को बुलाओ.
Again, it's not something that I believe in. I think maybe for a particular group of casting directors or a group of individuals, maybe. I look at somebody like Leonardo DiCaprio. He didn't have Instagram for years, and he was I mean, and still is, at least for me. I've always been like a big follower of his work. Didn't need it. He didn't even need Academy Awards for people to always be calling him because he's good at what he does. And I think this generation has lost that. They're trying to keep up with what everybody else is doing instead of just focusing on themselves. And this book actually talks about a guy who wanted to be a singer, and he asked his mom and he asked his dad. His dad said yes, and his mom said, well, you could be a doctor or something else. He took 14 years, but he became one of opera's first biggest singers. So again, it's, are you going to put in the effort? I get this all the time just being in the gym. I want to have a body like you. I'm like, no, you don't. Because you don't want to put in the discipline that I have. What time I go to sleep, what time I wake up, the food I eat, the food that I have to say no to again. Even though I like to have, as I had just in front of you, a burger, मैं रोज ये burger नहीं खा सकता है. But अगर ऐसे दिन है कि थोड़ा relaxed है, जैसे हम हैं अभी, I can make that choice. And it's not going to look like I have burgers every day. फिर भी लोग बोलेंगे अरे यार तुम ऐसे burger खा सकते हो, दिखता भी नहीं है. And that's why, because my body is ready to take it. It's just being ready all the time, but it's also saying I have that discipline and I know what I want and I know what I don't want in life.
कभी तुमको ऑडिशन में किसी ने बोला बिकॉज यू लुक फिट एंड ऑल के बोला कि टी शर्ट उठा के दो, तुम्हारी बॉडी कैसे दिखती है उसके हिसाब से कास्टिंग होती है?
हाँ जी.
ऐसा भी हुआ है?
हाँ जी.
तो किस्सा बताओ.
ऐसे हुआ ही नहीं, ऐसे हो रहा है. And that's part of why I have to keep fit, because I know as I do play a lot of antagonist roles. It's very, very taxing on the body. It's a lot of action. I just finished one of Amazon's most awaited projects, Revolutionaries, with Nikhil Advani. I rode horses continuously for 3 days. Trust me, it's in Dehradun, the kind of heat, it's insane what your body goes through. Even I was like, wow. I can tell I'm like, I'm not as young as I used to be, although I'm fit. And I know that a lot of people in the beginning didn't believe it. I mean, I would say even our DOP was like, only after 1 or 2 days, he was like, wow, man, you're just riding and riding and riding and you can keep going. Like, aren't you tired? And I'm like, yeah, I'm tired. But my body is still ready to take it. And it's not like I'm sitting there for 4 days or like a week after that. Yeah, I have so much pain. No, my body's ready to keep going. So but then again, it's what food I eat. I'm not sitting and eating. It's not that I have anything against curry. It's the oil in curry that I, have something against. If it's like a ghee-based curry, great, and it's just those kind of small choices that you have to make in life, and it makes a huge difference.
2007, I think. तुम्हारी शुरुआत कब से हुई? When you look back at your journey, how do you look at your journey? And शुरुआत कब से हुई और कैसे हुई?
It started when I was 17. I just a small, short modeling job. Somebody asked me, do you want to be a model? And I said, yeah, why not? Something different, something new. And I went to Chennai and I did a shoot. और मैंने 4 घंटा के अंदर 50,000 रुपया बनाया. And 50,000 रुपया उस ज़माने में, which is now 21 years ago, it was a lot of money for me. I came back and I told my dad, I said, बस मुझे काम आपके साथ कभी नहीं करना है क्योंकि मैं यहाँ पे बैठ के 15,000 रुपया पूरा महीने में आता है. But over here I've made it in 4 hours. Obviously, I didn't realize that, there's more struggle to the industry than that. But where I really got the kick was in Partner. वहाँ से वो चटका आया.
Partner कैसे मिली?
It was crazy. I just walked inside of a room and the guy just looked at me and he was sitting down from the hall और उसने बोला अरे done इसको लेके आ जाओ कल. And I was like, मुझे ये काम करना है. कोई audition नहीं, कुछ नहीं. वो बोला done. And then I walked out of the room and my agent was telling me, आपको पता है ये 1 दिन का काम नहीं है, ये 5 दिन का काम है. हाँ से 5 दिन का काम ऐसे कैसे होता है यार डन, क्योंकि मॉडलिंग में तो एक लुक टेस्ट होगा, एक मतलब यू हैव टू वॉक अप एंड डाउन अ रूम, आपको मतलब क्लोथ्स ट्रायल हैपेंस एंड देयर सो मेनी, आई वाज लाइक ये ऐसे होता है क्या फिल्म इंडस्ट्री में. And then we didn't work so hard on that set, I'll tell you that. I was pretty free most of the time and it went from 5 days to 7 days. So I was like, यही करना है जिंदगी भर यही चाहिए.
First day of shoot क्या था?
Nothing. I don't even think we hardly did anything on the first day. We were pretty much sitting around on set to just, I invited most of my friends to set. So yeah, it was, I was just like, dude, this is so easy. Everybody's sitting at Mahal. I was working with Dilip Dahil. So actually, me and Dilip Dahil became really good friends. And I just met him the other day, some time ago. Then, of course, there's Govinda and Salman and Lara and Katrina. So it's like all day entertainment, you know. And I was first movie for me. Everything
Were
was
you
so
starstruck
big.
back then, or was it?
I don't think I've ever been starstruck, but always very fascinated by stars. Each one has their own flair, their own color, their own type of masala, you know, that they bring to the table. And it was fantastic. I was like, this is so easy and I'm getting treated like a king. So it was great. It was good fun.
What happened after that, after Partner? And working, of course, working with Katrina.
Well, with Katrina, I mean, we didn't really interact too much on that film. My father passed away a little bit after that. That was quite a hit on my life. Kind of went into the world to search in a lot of different ways, especially for God. I had a lot of questions. I think I kind of blamed God for, you know, his passing. And life teaches you that, you know, we all come here to live, but we all, you know, go one day. And I think it was in some ways perfect timing because it really grew me up. I think I was very irresponsible when he was around because I was like, अरे पापा है तो वो सब संभाल लेगा, फोन उठा लो और ऐसे $1,000 ऐसे ही आता है. You know, but then once he goes, everyone's like, oh, you're the man of the house. And
You became responsible.
I don't think I became responsible immediately. I went off track quite a bit, which I guess we all, you know, have our time in life that we do. Went down a lot of different roads. Probably ended up in the wrong kind of friend circles a lot of the time. I think that's, again, having...
What did you get yourself indulged in?
I mean, all kinds of things, all kinds of addictions. By the time I reached Jhansi Ki Rani, which I think was 2019, I was smoking about 2.5 packets of cigarettes a day. And even just to get rid of that addiction alone, it's hard work. It's tough. And you depend on those kind of things. I mean, alcohol and stuff like that. Because you're trying to suppress feelings, you're trying to fill it with something because you feel that there's a void. And in the last 6 years, like my journey towards God has been that now God's love fills all of those areas. And that's what's so beautiful about finding God, is that I don't smoke. I had hardly like...
कितना समय लगा जैसे निकलने को? बिकॉज एक लड़का जो इतना फिटनेस वाला बंदा है, फिटनेस में बिलीव करता है, फादर के जाने के बाद एडिक्शन की तरफ जाता है, उसमें से बाहर निकलने को इतना समय लगा तुमको?
I mean, it takes long, and sometimes you fall back in it again. Like I remember in Hira Mandi, क्योंकि हीरा मंडी में बहुत सीन्स वैसे था कि सिगरेट पीना था, तो एक्चुअली वो थोड़ा वापस चालू हो गया था. एंड आई सॉ, यू नो, पीपल इवन देयर, दे वर लाइक, अरे लेकिन तुम स्टार्टिंग में तो तुम सिगरेट नहीं पी रहे थे, अभी क्या हो गया? एंड यू नो, दैट्स वेयर वी हैव टू कैच आवरसेल्व्स अगेन. फास्टिंग, उपवास करना, ये बहुत सही चीज़ है लाइफ में. और इससे तो मैंने बहुत चीज़ छोड़ा है लाइफ में, बिकॉज इट रियली टीचेस यू सेल्फ कंट्रोल. Because for me, I love food, I need food, my body is always depending on food. And when you don't get it, your body, your brain, it's crazy how it works. It's like your brain just starts thinking of everything in your life, all the good things, all the wrong things. And then you actually go into places of reflection because you have so much emptiness, I could say, places to breathe. Your body is now focused here instead of making sure that you digest food. And you start to, okay, this is something that I'm weak in. I need to strengthen this. This is something that I'm so strong in that कभी उसको कमज़ोर नहीं करना है, but उसको थोड़ा सा नीचे करना है. Because sometimes our strengths can be overpowering and people will take that as maybe ego. कि नहीं बंदा ऐसे बात करता है. But yeah, he's confident. He knows what he's doing. But then it's also we're humans, right? तो ये बात करने को भी एक समझ है कि कैसे बात करना चाहिए. And honestly, there were so many things that were wrong with me that through fasting I really learned. It was an amazing process. And I think I'm not perfect. Revolutionaries मैंने थोड़ा मतलब सिगरेट पीना चालू हो गया था. So it's tough, but then it's always like देख हम सब गलती करते हैं, but we should always think of how to get ourselves back. And that's what this life is about. That's what I believe, is that God's forgiveness always overrides all of those mistakes.
तुम्हारा पापा होते तो क्या बोलते तुमको, जो तुम जिस डायरेक्शन में तुम जा रहे थे?
At that time,
अभी अगर आज की तारीख में जिस पापा के जाने के बाद जो तुमने रूट अपनाया, एडिक्शन की तरफ चले गए, आज तुम्हारे पापा होते तो क्या बोलते तुमको अगर गलत
He was very supportive of me actually with acting. He was so happy when I told him. He was the one that paid for everything in the New York Film Academy. वो बहुत ही अमेरिका से connected था. He's so our export house is one of the oldest cotton export and import export houses and import houses in India. So we're very मतलब पूरा इंडिया का ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी से पूरा जुड़ा हुआ है. And his thing was always travel, learn. And he saw बचपन से actually he was the chairman for the National Association for the Blind. तो हमने बहुत सारे concerts किया था उस ज़माने में, उस time पे. We even used to go to different parts of Mumbai that have jails. We used to feed people, जैसे दिवाली होता है, जैसे होली होता है. We used to go and give food. तो कभी कभी ऐसे नाटक तो मैं थोड़ा मतलब गाना चला के, dad used to say कुछ तो करो यार, कुछ dance वांस करो. So I think उसने ही खुद मुझे थोड़ा सा push किया था stage पर. And when I asked him, can I go? He was like, absolutely. मैं सब संभाल लूँगा, मेरा दोस्त लोग हैं वहाँ पे, जाके मिलो. He was so happy that I was going to America. He really liked the exposure because of business. He was a very, very strong businessman. So he was very supportive. My mom is not so supportive. She's like, अरे हमेशा तुम यही bad guy क्यों खेलता है? Because she's a mother. She's more soft. So she's like, I can't even watch your work.
That's what your mother says.
Yeah, it's a bit hard for her, and she's older now. But Dad was very supportive, and I think he would have been even more proud of me today than some of the naughty things I was doing when I was young. He'd hated me smoking. He was like, do everything but don't smoke.
That's what I was asking you.
Yeah.
How did your dad react to whatever you're doing?
I mean, I'm sure he wouldn't have been happy, but he was always just so supportive. He wasn't a kind of person that judged. He knew that, he had his ups and downs in life as well. उसने भी 2 शादी की, पहले तो इंडियन से और फिर अंग्रेज से. So everybody goes through their emotions. So I think it's what we become. I like to say that whenever I'm with people, it's more about your future that I'm concerned about than your past. I like to be a future builder, and I'm not so worried about history makers.
हीरा मंडी की बात तुमने की. मैंने सुना कि तुमको हीरा मंडी की ऑडिशन जब तुमने दिया, तुमको पता भी नहीं था कि हीरा मंडी के लिए तुम ऑडिशन दे रहे हो. ऐसी कोई बात थी क्या?
Yeah.
Tell me the story.
So it's kind of this thing that I have most of the time. Now obviously it's changing. But yeah, it was just like, okay, Jason, I have this audition. Can you do it? और मैंने किया था एंड मैं भूल जाता है ऐसे. मैं उस चीज़ का दिमाग में घुमा घुमा के अरे मेरे को मिला, मेरे को नहीं मिला, किस चीज़ की वजह से नहीं मिल रहा है. आई डोंट टेक ऑल ऑफ दैट टेंशन. आई गिव 150%. अच्छा लगा कोई तो अच्छा लगा. शायद वो बंदा जो देख रहा है, जो ऐसे बहुत बार हुआ है कि जो बंदा जो मतलब कैमरा पकड़ा हुआ है, जैसे हमारा बंदा यहाँ पे भी खड़े हैं, उसने देख के किसी और को ये ऑडिशन के बारे में जाके बात किया और मैंने एक दूसरा काम भी मिला है इससे. सो अगेन इट्स जस्ट गिव योर 150%. आएगा तो आएगा, नहीं आएगा तो नहीं आएगा. And that's how it is. And all of a sudden my agent called me and he was like, अरे भाई वो ऑडिशन जो तुमने दिया था ना 3-4 months back. And I was like, कौन सा ऑडिशन? And he was like, अरे तुमने एक दिया था, जाओ to the offices. Sanjay Leela Bansali is making a big Netflix show. So I was like, oh wow, चलो.
In first meeting with Sanjay, did you meet Sanjay officially like that, or was it straight on the set?
No, he came inside of the room. And I was sitting with the script, and obviously I knew who he was. And he just came and he was looking in the cupboard. But I know he had come to see me. I don't think he had come for something in the cupboard. I think he came to see कि ये बंदा सही है कि नहीं. And I think he had already seen that I had a very strong grip on the language in the audition. तो I think वहाँ पे कोई शक नहीं था उसका कि ये हिंदी में कुछ दिक्कत है. But डायरेक्टर तो अपना एक्टर तो देखने के लिए आ जाएगा, तो वो देखा. आई सेड हाय सर. ही वाज लाइक नॉडेड हिज हेड एंड ही लेफ्ट द रूम.
अदिति को झापड़ मारा कि नहीं? क्या था वो अदिति वाला सीन?
कुछ नहीं, वो बेचारी डर गई.
हाँ टेल मी, उसका शायद कोई बैकग्राउंड है वो कहानी का. क्या बैकग्राउंड है वो स्टोरी का?
आपने बहुत अच्छे से मतलब कोद के. Nothing. I came on set and she looked at me, and I mean, she's quite a petite girl. So I came on set and she looked at me, and then she looked at the director who was there. I think it was
Mitakshara.
Mitakshara was there, correct. And she looked at her, she said, is he the one that's going to slap me? And I said, absolutely. क्योंकि मैं भी थोड़ा डराने का कोशिश करता है कभी ऐसे, मतलब not in real, but ये चीज़ है कि वो कुछ निकल जाता है उस चीज़ से. समथिंग रियल, यू नो. आई एम ऑलवेज इन कैरेक्टर, और इतना बड़ा सेट पे तो कैरेक्टर में तो रहेंगे. और वो तो बहुत ही मतलब लंबा लंबा वॉक करके उस जेल के अंदर आया था. एंड she was like, please don't hit me. And I said, don't worry, I've already slapped a lot of women in this show. और किसी को मारा नहीं अभी तक. I'm still here. नहीं तो शायद जेल में होता था. But yeah, I think she was already getting whipped from behind by a Russian guy. And I think already उस मतलब वो 1-2 टच ऑलरेडी पहले से हुआ था उससे. So I think वो थोड़ा डर रही थी कि maybe I'm not a professional actor. So होता है, लड़की का डर होती है.
There were reports about हीरा मंडी 2. कुछ है तुम्हारे तक जो कुछ पहुंची बात? Not really.
I keep hearing about it, but nothing. And मेरे बारे में तो कुछ भी नहीं आया. अगर आएगा तो अच्छी बात है.
आज के ज़माने में देखा जाता है कि एक्टर्स की कम्युनिटी कितना ब्रीड जो है वो बहुत इनसिक्योर ब्रीड लगता है तुमको. यू एज ऑल्सो एन आर्टिस्ट, हाउ इनसिक्योरिटी होती है आर्टिस्ट की, सेंस ऑफ इनसिक्योरिटी आज के ज़माने के आर्टिस्ट?
At least most of, I think from what I've seen, the insecurity comes from places of what is everybody around thinking about me. Maybe they've got this, thing in their mind that they're already thinking about the release before anything has even started. They're not there in the room. And that's something that I know I was taught a lot by, a lot of my teachers in the New York Film Academy was be present, notice, everything in the room, pick up on all the small things, because that's what actually gives flavor to the character, is that when, you could just pick up a pen and just look at it for half an hour and then maybe come back and again not say anything and just look, and by that time I think 3 people जो मेरे सामने बैठेंगे वो थोड़ा they'll get scared of what is he going to do next. He's going to get up and, take the pen. And those kind of things, especially for me as an antagonist, works is being present. And I think that they lack that. This is more of it's like showbiz, right? They've not really...
It's all about me.
Yes, those elements as well. I think, especially with some actors, it's too much pampering in some ways. You don't need to tell an actor every single thing. Arey sir, what a shot, what a shot. Acha shot dega to bolo. I know some guys do it out of, we're having fun. We had one guy on Revolutionaries who har shot, if he's on set, there was 2 units, so he goes between units. But he always said, Arey sir, kya shot diya? It's almost like, when he says that, I get unsure कि वो सही से तो नहीं बोल रहे, वो ये तो बोलते जाते हैं ऐसे सही shot है. But he's doing it out of, just keeping the energy up. But I think, and I've noticed with some directors, I was in Fitur where Abhishek was quite, very straight, and he wouldn't need to say anything extra. He would come and say, no, I think we need to do this again, and can you try this? I think more of that flavor needs to be brought in, because that'll bring more truth to everybody's character.
Fitur, I remember, started with Sushant was supposed to do the film, you know that?
Oh, wow.
Aditya's role was Sushant's role for it.
Oh, wow.
Coming back to, because actor इतना insecure बंदा, hero इतना insecure है, कभी कोई ऐसा हुआ कि जेसन के रोल को नुकसान हुआ है?
बहुत बार.
कोई किस्सा जो बताना चाहोगे?
I don't want to say who, but I've actually had a producer and director tell me कि जेसन तुम इतना क्यों कोशिश कर रहा है? थोड़ा कम करो. मतलब इसलिए काटा गया है आपको. And
क्योंकि हीरो इनसिक्योर हो गया था.
दिख भी रहा है कि मतलब फ्रेम में आपको, मतलब आपका इमोशन बहुत बढ़ रहा है लेकिन किसी और का नहीं, तो उसके वजह से आपको बहुत मतलब चॉप करके गया. I've actually had a director tell me कि जेसन आप है इस फिल्म में लेकिन आप है ही नहीं. So that's something that I will never bend to, because I'm not here for that. I'm getting paid, and every minute that I get paid for, I'll give my 150%. वो ending में, what happens in the editing room, at least not till now, I don't have a say. In the future, if I do something different, but होता है, ठीक है, no problem. It doesn't stop me.
When did you become the Van Heusen man? Because
I was actually just in underwear.
Because my brother wears a lot of Van Heusen, and now that when I met you, I said I can remember that poster there. So tell me, when did you become the first? How did you get the ad?
How the underwear? Again, it was I had done quite a bit of underwear when I was young. I think it was because I was extremely fit, and at that time they wanted foreign-looking men in underwear on billboards, which now they don't. I don't think you really see, but I would love to be, again taken for Van Heusen. I don't know where they went. But yeah, it's a thing that comes with modeling. I've done quite a bit. I've done on Macroman. I've done quite a few of the big underwear names.
You remind me of Karan Kapoor at times.
I've been told that before a lot. That's Shashi Kapoor's son. Right?
Yes. Yeah. The moment foreigner बोलते बोले foreigner मतलब खाली prop होगा, तो ऐसा कभी तुमको ऐसा feeling देते थे क्या लोग कि foreigner वाला feeling देते क्या लोग आज भी industry में तुमको?
Yes, absolutely. I think it takes people time to recognize that I'm not a foreigner, और मैं उनके ज़्यादा समझ में आ रहा है, तभी उनको लगता है कि ये बहुत ज़्यादा समझते हैं. मतलब डायरेक्टर लोग के आगे में जाके बोलते हैं अभी 5 मिनट में पैकअप है, और बोलते हैं नहीं जेसन मत बोलो और 45 मिनट है, और 2 मिनट के अंदर वो ईपी आके बोलते पैकअप है. So I think after that they start to recognize कि I'm very connected with everybody that I work with. I like to be that. It keeps me prepared. What can I say? It's just a thing because of my look, right? It's like if I go to Colaba Causeway, and I love doing it. I love just speaking English for just like half a minute. वो जो 10 रुपया का चीज़ तो 150 रुपया में बिक रहा है क्योंकि उसके आगे में डॉलर साइन जा रहा है कि आज जैकपॉट मिला. एंड देन आई से भाई ये कितने की है सर आप इंडियन हो गया. एंड दैट्स आई थिंक you know this is a worldwide thing, is that people I think would take this as racism. And I think people are getting so touchy and they're always, you know, Arey, but why? I've grown up around this. I don't see it as racism. I mean, if there was, you know, I mean, there are actually a lot of Indians in England, but still anywhere, if it's like if an Indian goes to Thailand or if I go to Thailand, you know, we're foreigners over there too. And the same thing happens over there. So it's not like in India anything is different. All over the world, it's exact. I actually told a guy in New York that I was Indian, and he was Indian, and he said, that's not possible. And I started speaking to him in Hindi. He still said that's not possible. वो बोला ऐसे हो नहीं सकते, तुमने अच्छे से बोल रहे, ऐसे लग रहे उर्दू भी जानते हैं, पर आप इंडियन नहीं हो. तभी मैं उसका दिखाया मेरा ड्राइवर्स लाइसेंस, क्योंकि आई डोंट नो द आधार कार्ड वाजंट देयर एट दैट टाइम. आई शोड हिम माय ड्राइवर्स लाइसेंस एंड ही सेड अरे यार तू तो इंडियन है, क्योंकि ये तो इंडियन ड्राइवर्स लाइसेंस है. एंड इट्स हैपेंड टू मी ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड. दैट इन बैंकॉक वंस आई वाज एट अ सरदारजी's place, and I was having a drink and I saw him, so I was like मैं connect कर लूँगा, ये भी एक इंडियन है. Because from inside, I see myself as an Indian. I forget, you know, about my color and my, you know, eyes and everything. And I walked up to him. I said, "Ki hale, bhai?" And he looked at me because he was quite surprised. And he was like, "Where are you from?" And he had this whole accent. And I said, "I'm from Mumbai." He just did not want to accept that I was Indian. 1.5 hours later, to Punjabi music, I had his entire restaurant dancing. And I was in the middle because I got a little smashed. I was dancing my heart out. Then he came up to me and he threw his arms around me. He said, "Arey bhai, तुमने बोला ही नहीं कि आप देश वाले हैं." I was like, मैंने आपसे बात कर रहे थे हिंदी में, फिर भी आपने माना ही नहीं. अभी सब लोग नाच रहे मेरे वजह से. So because then I was singing the songs, and I know that happens a lot. Like people are like, "How does he know the words?" You know, they ask my friends. It just happened on the 3rd of this month. I was at a wedding and in Bombay, and they were like, "He knows the songs. मतलब ये सब गाने आता है इसको. ये कहाँ से है ये?" You know. So I know it's shocking, but that's fun. It's part of life.
तो limitation as an artist होता है कि कभी तुम्हारे स्किन कलर के कारण रोल्स के हिसाब से थोड़ा है क्या, थोड़ा लिमिटेशन पड़ता है तुमको कि in fact advantage, it becomes an advantage at times also, और disadvantage and advantages की बात कर लेते हैं.
I mean, it can, I guess, yes, in some ways, you know, it does have some limitations because people see you for what you are at first glance. But I'm absolutely blessed that I've worked with all 3 Khans. I've worked in movies like Prabhas, Vijay, you name the stars in India, and I've done across all 3 languages that most people are like dying to be in my position, you know, like आपने बहुत सारे लोग के साथ काम किया है. So again, I think it's sticking to what you're good at and keep on focusing, and one day the balloon will pop. And I'm waiting for that day in more ways than one. देखते जाएंगे.
तुमने तीनों खान की बात की, तीनों खान के एक्सपीरियंस की बात कर दो. ठग्स ऑफ हिंदुस्तान में भी थे ना तुम?
Yes.
तीनों
all
खान
different, all very particular in their own different things.
How's Shah Rukh?
Very particular. I mean, he was like, no. I remember so specifically. He's like, I want the camera coming from here. So again, and he's like, he's got his own production house. He's one of, you know, I would say one of the king khans of India, you know. he's internationally recognized as well. So you have to be particular, right? Because every single move you make is calculated. Amir Khan, we did one scene. He had, I think, 3 words or something like that, and we did like 30 plus takes. Yeah. And Salman, again, he works the way that he works according to how he is. So they're all just different people in their own spaces working the way that they do. It's fascinating to watch them all in that way. I'm not starstruck like that, but it's nice to sit and watch them all, you know, working in the day. आमिर खान ने बोला कि 1 मिनट रुको, हेलीकॉप्टर्स कमिंग, एंड पूरा यूनिट ऐसे पड़ा है कि कौन सा हेलीकॉप्टर, अभी शॉट ले लो, ख़त्म करो. एंड नो जोक, 20 सेकंड के बाद वो हेलीकॉप्टर आया था. एंड इवन आई वाज लाइक, ये बंदा कुछ अलग कनेक्शन है क्या? तो आसमान में कुछ पड़ा है उसका 5G 6G. बट या, इट्स फन.
टेलीविजन भी एक तुम्हारे करियर का बहुत बड़ा हिस्सा रहा है. Working in television, a lot of period dramas that you've been part of, because. So tell me about that journey. And you don't do any more television at all.
No.
So tell me about that journey. How did that journey begin? First show कौन सा था और तुमने कब decide किया कि तुम television अब हो गया?
So the actual serial started with Chandrasekhar Azad, and I'm actually so happy that I had an opportunity in that, because the Punjabi director that was working on that, I was so nervous, and it wasn't because of the acting, it was because of the dialogue. इतने सारे 8-10 पेपर आ गया मेरे सामने और सिर्फ मेरा ही डायलॉग, मतलब सामने वाला बोल रहे हाँ जी and I'm saying a paragraph, और फिर वो बोल रहे हाँ जी and I'm saying a paragraph. I was like, ये याद करने के लिए मेरे को तो आधा दिन चाहिए. And he put, I'll never forget, his hand came on my shoulder and I just looked up and he said, Paji, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, I'm here, I'll help you, don't worry. And he really helped me in each and every scene. And because of that, I mean, then Jhansi Ki Rani came into my hands, which was a much bigger show, but I was prepared to speak in a different language. And most of the assistant directors in those shows don't even know what I'm saying, which is like, I always had that question कि तुम लोग भी ये नहीं जानते तो फिर मैं क्यों, मतलब who wrote this, who was this for? आप लोग नहीं जानते तो बच्चे लोग कैसे मालूम पड़ेगा? But yeah, and it just kept going. I think there was that barrister Babu, and it, you know, lots of different ones like that. It gave me a lot of confidence. So I'm very thankful for the TV industry, क्योंकि time नहीं है आपके पास. You have absolutely no time. कभी कभी ऐसे होता था कि 8 पेज तुमने पूरा याद किया और सेट पे आ गया और बोला सर वो नहीं है, ये है. And I'm like, चलो, let's go, take. Throw yourself in there.
कब realize हुआ कि बस अब चले यहाँ से?
Yeah, and coming to COVID, I was just doing TV. And I guess that's where I really started searching deeply for God. And it was one of my things to God that now I want to do movies and web series. And just pulling out of COVID, a guy called me. He said, Inna sir, will you do South movies, sir, Tamil, sir? I said, absolutely, I was ready. He said, come today, sir, we'll get you the ticket. And I flew down. I came walking out into the lobby and he looked at me and he said, super, sir, super, done, sir, done. And I signed in the lobby. It was the most amazing experience. And again, in Tamil, which it's a great medium, and I've always wanted to be in the South. I have connections in the South, so it was always a dream to do a bad guy in a Tamil movie, and I did it. So, and then now, I mean,
line लग गई है.
line लग गई है.
But South cinema, हम हमेशा ये एक standard cliche question जो मैं पूछना चाह रही हूँ कि North और South का सिनेमा किस तरीके से function करता है in terms of work culture?
They're all different. I mean, I would say here it's a little easier in some ways for me because I understand the northern languages a bit more. Like I have a very good grip of Hindi. I can kind of get more of Marathi, Gujarati and Punjabi, which is usually mostly our workers on set will be speaking in these languages. That's also a pain because the miscommunication between a Marathi and a Punjabi and a Gujarati happens all day long. Whereas when you're working in Tamil cinema or Telugu cinema, one language, everybody speaking the same language. So I might not understand, but everybody around me understands. So that's really nice to work with. They just know what they're doing in the South. There's a lot less spoken. Like I'll remember even like with the KGF director, Neil Prashant sir, he barely says anything and everything's ready. And you're talking about a lineup of 50 trucks in Salah who all have to come and stop on point. अगर यहाँ पे बॉम्बे में होता था तो चलाने के लिए आपको तो 50 ADs को हायर करना पड़ेगा, तो उतना ही भी miscommunication. So I think down south, I think the handling, maybe it's the language again, it seems to have a much better flow of things. But then again, it's set to set. You know, I've been on confusing South sets as well. And same goes for over here. And then I've been with really good productions over here. With, you know, I loved working with Nikhil sir. And you knew what you were doing. And down south, sometimes it won't be like that. So I guess it's just production house, who's in charge, directors, how they like things.
पिछले 5 साल में कितना सिनेमा बदला है साउथ का? You saw the toxic the teaser. What is your take on the sexual connotations that, you know, उसमें भी पहले नहीं था, पहले ऐसा नहीं लगता, अभी लगने लगा है सिनेमा में.
तो जैसे I think इंडिया में बोलते कलयुग, for Christians we say end of days. About 5 or 6 or I'd say 7 years back, me and my brother started understanding that in the next few years, Indian cinema is going to become very violent and they're going to start paying attention a lot more to the deities over here. So if you actually see, even in KGF, I think it's Kalima, in RRR, I think it's Ram Sita, there's quite a bit. Even if you see in Pushpa, there's a lot of reflection and admiration for the deities and the gods in India, which is the Indian culture ultimately. So it's all channeling from there, but definitely violence has picked up. We've seen that, I think, at the start of that was like KGF, I think was, when I watched KGF, I was like, I think there needs to be like 2 intermissions because it's so much killing. Like it's like, wow. Because even, I mean, abroad, there have been movies like, I don't think like that, where it's this guy just, you know, continuously, you know, killing. I definitely don't think that ultimately it has the best effect on our younger people. But it's what they want. And everything's getting more raw in the world. I think this generation needs everything very raw because normal stuff doesn't speak to them anymore. But then I'm still like, I'm not 100% in agreement with that because something like Sayara was so beautiful that it actually showed the world that people still want a good love story. Just a nice, simple love story with really good music, which has always done pretty well in India.
But we as a society, they say cinema is a reflection of our society. We as a society are getting voyeuristic more because of film like Dhurandhar, which is complete out and out Pakistan bashing, has been lapped up by the audience. Whereas a Nikkis which talks about peace is not so much appreciated in terms of the numbers at the box office. What is your take?
Well, that's what I mean. It's this overall, you know, it's all over the world. Everything is becoming much more aggressive. As I said, people are more reactive and not responsive. It seems like everybody wants to launch out. Hate has become a big thing. I think you see that in media now. There's so much hate. I mean, even just the comments on people's pages. You can take someone as like Arjun Kapoor. You know, it's just continuous and it's like, where is it all coming from? And again, it's the mobile phone. I think parents need to say, okay, that's it for today. You've done enough, without knowing exactly what they've done, to start putting a little bit of control over things. but then to each their own. I'm not everybody's father, so I can't. I mean, for me personally, if I had a kid, the kid would not have a mobile phone unless they were going to school or away from me and their mother. That's it. They don't need a phone. They don't need to be calling everybody and looking online and internet. And I know families, I know Gujarati families who their kids don't have phones. They're being homeschooled because they know the kind of things that come through the internet. And those are really good sanskari Hindi Gujarati families. So yeah, it's crazy where the world, it's choices. It's taking that higher calling, those higher level of choices of what are you really looking forward to? I say that the words that come out of your mouth are the meals that you will eat tomorrow.
But how does one survive in this so-called influencers world today?
Well, until the child is 16, you are the influence in their life. And if you can give 16 years to a child of good influence, you'll be surprised what that kid will do. Maybe they'll change the world.
अभी कट टू अभी हम जाते तुम्हारे सिनेमा पे वापस. एंटेगनिस्ट, तुमको विलन क्यों बनना था? विलन क्यों तुमको अच्छा लगता है?
बन गया ऐसे. वही रोल्स मिल रहा था. And when you really want to act, I mean, it started off with partners. So I was going to get married to Katrina, but फिर वो सलमान बीच में आ गया और बोला हिंदुस्तानी से शादी करेंगे. And I wanted to say, मैं हूँ हिंदुस्तानी. I'm Gujarati. Came Cho from behind Dilip Tahil, but I don't know. I guess looking at me, it was like, नहीं ये अच्छा captain, officer, general, ये अच्छा करेगा. So those are the roles. And I understand. I mean, if I was to get up on a bus with a lungi tomorrow and start dancing a lungi dance, I think half the cinema would walk out saying, "Ye kisko kiya aise?" You know? So it's an understanding. I think it's growth. I think it's opening up people's eyes to me. That eventually, once people recognize me as, you know, an Indian guy, in the future that can change, and that takes a little bit of effort and time, you know. And I think as an actor, especially from outside, I've not got, you know, a producer or, you know, someone sitting behind me who can make something like this happen overnight. You've got to have that endurance and stick with it and say, you know, I'm going to change people's minds eventually, or hopefully maybe do it myself one day.
What do you plan to do? Romance? Love
I mean,
story?
that would be great. Produce myself and direct myself in a romance film. I think that would be really cool. Something like a Love Actually, you know, like just a nice
cute
romance.
love hai, very cute.
Somebody said Rekha ji ke saath yesterday. And I'm open, you know, it's crazy what can happen.
Dad, did you really shot with Rekha ji in Fitur? The first?
No.
जाते बिग बॉस में भी गया था क्या?
Yes.
क्या किया था जाके?
कुछ नहीं किया. But a lot of people said that I was like the sweet poison of the show. But ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं किया मैंने. I don't know. I think it was just a lot of people shouting. Yeah.
They call you again. Will you ever go into that house?
No. Not on Big Boss. There's a lot of other shows that I would do.
Like, for example?
Like Khadro Khiladi and, you know, so there's so many. Like Fear Factor and stuff like that. But it's challenging. It's challenges. Not this kitch pitch all day long.
I think जाते जाते revolutionaries की बात होनी चाहिए. निखिल की, tell me about revolutionaries.
I can't.
Working with,
I mean, I can't talk much about it because none of the characters have even been revealed. So it's kind of all under wraps. But it's going to be really exciting. I'm really, the first look has come out. So I think a lot of people have gotten a gist of what it is. I had great fun. Loved working with Nikhil. I think it's a great star cast. I really enjoyed working with Bhuvan Bam.
I like that. His look also, I love the look.
Yeah, he's got such a fresh look and he's got that kind of face that like वो बहुत characters कर सकता है. And I think that's his journey also, is this, that he can mold and morph into just so many different characters.
I think covered everything. What is finally तुम्हारा purpose in life क्या है बता दो भाई?
To spread love and joy and peace. And
do you remember your first audition?
in acting, well, I didn't audition. Honestly, I haven't really given a lot of acting auditions. None for, was it maybe it was Jhansi actually. Yeah, because even Chandrasekhar Azad, which I did, even that I didn't audition. Yeah, which was writers. I think it must have been Jhansi Ki Rani. I was called into Contillo, and yeah, I was auditioned there. So actually, no one's ever asked me that. I'm pretty sure it's Jhansi.
First actor you ever met first?
First actor?
Yeah, in the industry.
As in like a big name?
Anyone you met?
Well, since I've been young, I've known Varun. Aditya Roy Kapoor has been quite close to me and my brother, my younger brother. Tiger used to come to Breach Candy Club. So I've met a lot of, industry people. Sashi Kapoor actually used to come and sit at Breach Candy Club. Shah Rukh, my mom has massaged Shah Rukh Khan at Breach Candy Club. So I met him when I was super small. Yeah, Sanjay Dutt I met when I was small. I think just being in South Mumbai and, coming to Bandra, because that was like the only real suburb at that time. It was like Juhu was like, oh my God, it's Sunday, we're going to Juhu. It's like far away from where we live.
Snob guys, you're all snobbish guys from South Bombay. पहला salary क्या था तुम्हारा? पहला पगार? As an actor.
As an actor, I think it was about, on Chandrasekhar, I think it was somewhere anything between 22,000 and 25,000.
Any fan moment that you remember? First fan moment तुम्हारा याद है तुमको? किसी बढ़िया?
No, I've never really been like starstruck in that way. I'll take photos, but never really like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
I would really like to meet Allu Arjun though.
He's in Bombay now.
He seems interesting. अच्छा, he's in Bombay.
तुमने अपनी कभी स्ट्रगल की बात नहीं की? तुम शुरुआत में कभी ऐसा फेज आया तुमको कि अरे यार बॉस हो गया, ऐसा फीलिंग आता था कभी as an artist?
In the industry?
Yes.
No, not really. I mean, there's periods. See, the thing is in life when, they're called periods of rest. Other people say struggle.
Yeah.
It's a struggle if you see it as a struggle. I think it's a time of preparation. I think sometimes we need these kind of periods in our life so that we can work on ourselves, work on our families and our relations with them, so on and so forth. And there's always something to do. I think struggle was COVID. Because that was like sitting at home, and I know even my manager, she knows I don't like to sit at home. I like to do. I'm a very active person that way. So I think, sitting at home and being told that I can't go anywhere, that was more of a struggle than anything in life.
You mentioned Allu Arjun. What is the thing about Allu Arjun that you like so much?
I think it's what I like about all the stars. Vijay, Allu, is that they're so talented. Their style, their swag, the way that they dance. But Allu Arjun, like the way he can dance and to beat people up at the same time, is quite something. Yeah. Vanta Punta Purallu or something like that. It's a very, very long name. But that movie was where I started watching him from. And I was just like, oh wow, look at this.
और विजय की फिल्म नहीं आ रही है, मतलब रुक गई है, डेट्स का पता नहीं है. So how do you react to something like that? A film is ready for release, and this kind of political interference happens, censor board comes in the picture, and the film is stalled.
I mean, I can definitely say that, like, I was really, in anticipation. I really wanted to see this film. And it was really like, I couldn't believe it when I woke up. I think it was on the 8th or the 7th. And I was just like, wow, it's going to be pushed. Like, To be honest, I've never been working in a film that this has happened. A release date is a release date. For whatever the reasons are behind it, I think they're as obvious as they are. I say that it's a turning point also in history, especially for him. And if he's planning to take such a big step, he's got to know that there's going to be great opposition. But I believe that he's that Lionheart type of guy, so I know that he's gonna be able to walk through the fire.
But you think you should quit he should not have quit the industry?
No, I think actually what he's doing is amazing because he's always been very cultural, even in his movies. There's always very good elements that Vijay brings about. He always speaks about topics that nobody else, because of the insecurities of actors, they don't want to say anything politically correct or incorrect. But Vijay has been quite clear about what
Social
he
issues,
thinks, especially when it comes to community and all of that. So I think I'm proud of a guy like that because I know at the peak of your career, which this is, I mean, looking at the crowds in Malaysia was unbelievable. To say that I'm going to leave that and do something for my country, it's unbelievable. There's very few freedom fighters that we have like that, and I think it's amazing. Not many people could sacrifice, that fame and, all of that for, the better good. And maybe not everybody agrees with him. That's fine. Everybody has, everyone's obligated to their own opinion. But if he thinks that he's right and he's doing the right thing, hats off.
A lot of people, and I feel that way, कि टॉम ऑल्टर थे जो पूरी तरह से अंग्रेज थे पर हिंदुस्तानी टोटली, उनकी उर्दू कोई पकड़, इतना बढ़िया उर्दू बोलते थे। तुम एक ऐसे दूसरे इंडियन हो पर अंग्रेज़ हो। तुमने कभी टॉम ऑल्टर को देखा है, समझा है, पढ़ा है?
I haven't really, I've never met him. I haven't studied too much about him or anything, but I do know this, that India is such a wonderful place that so many foreigners, I mean, I don't feel I'm a foreigner, मतलब पैदाशी मेरी तो मुंबई की है. But so for me it's home. My friends are here, my life is here, everything of mine is here. But India is such a special place that there's so much that gets involved with you, whether it be culture, whether it be religion, whether it be food. I mean, India from north to south, just you travel, there's so much to explore. You've got jungles and mountains and beaches. It's such a wonderful country in so many ways, and the heart of India really is with the people. And I love Indian people. There's something over here that you just don't find in other countries. I hope that the younger generation starts to fight for those things again and pull back a little bit. But yeah, it is what it is. Some people say that, like you said, that I see like Tom Alter in you. I think I've already kind of surpassed Tom Alter in the sense of I've done a lot more work than him. I don't think I would ever be able to speak his type of Urdu, क्योंकि उसके जैसे तो मतलब Indians भी कम बोलते हैं. So जैसे वो बात करते थे, it was almost like he was singing in Urdu, which is a beautiful thing. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of love. There was a side of him like that. But yeah, that's how I see it.
हमारा सिनेमा वर्सेस में चल रहा है, कभी स्पाई वर्स है, कभी हॉरर कॉमेडी वर्स है, तुम्हारा कॉप यूनिवर्स है. कभी तुम हॉरर कॉमेडी ये यूनिवर्स ट्राई करना चाहोगे?
Absolutely. Comedy is something I've always wanted to do. Horror as well, because someone like Bradley Cooper, who's one of the best Hollywood actors today, actually started in a horror film called Midnight Meat Train. So yeah, horror has always been something that I'm really, really interested in. I think Maddox makes a lot of cool movies like that. So maybe, who knows where the next call is going to come from. But yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.